सच जुगाद सच है पी सच नानक होसी पी सच एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभौ निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है पी सच नानक होसी पी सच मैं नहीं कछ हो नहीं किछ आहे न मोरा अवसर लज्जा राख लिहो सदना जन तोरा जी मैं नहीं कछ हो नहीं किछ आहे न मोरा अवसर लज्जा राख लिहो सदना जन तोरा। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा, वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। I hope all of you, wherever you are in Chartikla, in high spirits. And today we are back with another Sakhi from the Bhagat stories based on the Shabad by Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, and we are continuing the Sakhi of Bhagat Kabeer Ji. So this is the third day we have been speaking about Bhagat Kabeer Ji's life story, and today we are going to look at all the tests that Bhagat Kabeer Ji went through, that this Badshah Sikandar Lodhi, upon the complaints of the Qazi and the Pandits, they tried to convince Sikandar Lodhi to try to kill Bhagat Kabeer Ji. So what happened is that yesterday we stopped off where Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they spoke with Bhagat Ramanand Ji, and then also how they counter-attacked the Bachans, the things that the Brahmins or the Pandits used to say against him. So what happened was that Bhagat Kabeer Ji, their mehma, their praise, their ustad became known to all the people in Kashi, in Banaras, and there were a lot of people who would follow Bhagat Kabeer Ji. So as I mentioned on day one, those who follow the Bachan, those who follow the teachings of Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they are called the Kabir Panthis. So in Kashi, there were so many people, Muslims and Hindus, especially those of the low caste, because Kabir Ji were a Jilaha. So a lot of poor people, a lot of people from the low caste, they were really attracted to Bhagat Kabeer Ji. So काफ़ी जाने उन्ना दे मतलब चेले बन गए सीगे. So a lot of people then started following Bhagat Kabeer Ji, and they would do sangat together. They would come often to Bhagat Kabeer Ji's house to listen to their bachan. Many a times Bhagat Kabeer Ji would go to the Ganges river, to the Ganga Nadi, and they would also do Ishnan. And what happened is that a lot of people who were there, they would sit down with Bhagat Kabeer Ji to do satsang. Now some time went on like this, and Bhagat Kabeer Ji, as we mentioned earlier as well, a lot of their bani, they do khandan of all this falsehood. They would always do pachar of satya, so they would condemn all these ritualistic practices, egoistic practices in the name of dharam. So this would include, like Bhagat Kabeer Ji would say, puja or doing arti or puja to these murtiyan, these rituals. They are not true because you're doing out of ego. And then they would also condemn some of the practices by the Muslims. So for example, I mentioned yesterday about the Sunnat. So a lot of these times the Sangat, they would be really attracted to the teachings of Bhagat Kabeer Ji because Satchasi, hai na? And what happened was that slowly, people started going less to the Pandits, started going less to the Qazis. So, and what happened was that these Pandits, these Brahmins or these Qazi, they would get really upset because this was a way for them to earn money, where people used to come to them and then they would do puja or do ardas for them, and these poor people or these people who come to do benti, these Pandits, these Qazi, they would take money from them. So in the name of Dharam, this has actually become a sort of a business. So it wouldn't be done truthfully. They had that thought in their mind that, oh, I just want money. So, but the poor people, these villagers, hana, aam log jereya, they get fooled. And Bhagat Kabeer Ji is telling them, open your eyes. This is your time to build your personal relationship with Vaheguru, and all this ritualistic that is happening around you, they are false because they are not done from that place of truth. They are not done in a dharmic way. They are done out of ego and out of falsehood. So people started going less, which means Pandits, Qazis, they started earning less money. So they became really upset with Bhagat Kabeer Ji, and they could see that they were less popular among the Aam Janta, and Bhagat Kabeer Ji were becoming really famous. So one day, Sikandar Lodhi, that time the Raj, the Badshah or the ruler of Hindustan was Sikandar Lodhi. He was sitting on the Takht of Delhi. So this is before Babur came into the picture. So Sikandar Lodhi from Agra, they were visiting Kasi, and the Qazi and the Pandits, they got together. So they got together and they say to each other that, hey, look, both of us are in this situation. A lot of people are following Kabir and we are not getting anybody, so we have no money. We need to get Bhagat Kabeer Ji out of our way. So how we're going to do this is complain to Sikandar Lodhi Badshah. So both of these, the Pandits, the scholars of both the Hindus and Muslim religion, they went to Sikandar Lodhi and they complained about Bhagat Kabeer Ji, saying that he's born in a Muslim family, but he's following some of the Hindu tradition by doing Ram Simran, but he's condemning our ritual practices. So he's neither here nor there. And so Sikandar Lodhi, hearing the complaints from the Qazis, from the Pandits, then he decided that call Kabir and I want to meet him. So Bhagat Kabeer Ji, because they were nirpal, they were fearless, because they know that all this while Ram has protected me, Ram, Paramatma, Vaheguru has protected me, and they will do so in the future as well. So Bhagat Kabeer Ji was summoned in the court of Sikandar Lodhi and they have a conversation. So in this conversation, Sikandar Lodhi is asking, you are born in a Muslim family. Why are you now condemning your own religion? And Bhagat Kabeer Ji is saying that I'm not a Muslim nor a Hindu, Hana? And I practice Satya. So I only do Bhakti of Ram. That is my dharam. So even in Sukhmani Sahib, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Maharaj, they say, Sarv Dharma Shreshth Dharma, Har ko Naam Japan Nirmal Karam. That dharam is the best, is the highest dharam, in which one japa, one does Simran of Vaheguru's name and do good deeds. So that is my dharam, Bhagat Kabeer Ji is saying. And Sikandar Lodhi said that you are condemning both religions and you are not following any of these laws, these rituals of each religion. Hana, you have to at least follow one. So if you're born in a Muslim family, be a Muslim. So in this way, they are having a dispute. Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they have this really cool personality in which that whatever is happening around them, even if everybody is angry and irritated with Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they are always smiling. They are always laughing. They laugh at the situation. They laugh at how these Pandits are wasting their time, their energy, being angry, being irritated. So they're just laughing at it. And so Sikandar Lodhi got really angry. It's like, why are you laughing? And then, but you know, Bhagatan di char nirali. Gurbani says that the chal, the way of a Bhagat is nirali, is different. And people would normally look at a Bhagat and say, and they will say that, "Eh banda pagal ya." But that's the way. The way of a Bhagat is always different, and people, normal people would not be able to understand their ways. So Sikandar Lodhi got really angry, and then he said that drown Kabeer Ji in the Ganges River. So he took out a fatwa, a hukam, that drowned Bhagat Kabeer Ji in the Ganga Nadi. And so Jere Kabir Panthi sige, those who were following Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they got really upset. So everybody now is gathered at the Ganges River, at the banks of the Ganges River, and they're looking at the whole situation. So the Qazis are there, the Pandits are there, and then the villagers who had Shraddha Pavna on Bhagat Kabeer Ji are there. So Bhagat Kabeer Ji was tied, their hands were tied with shackles, and then their feet as well were tied with shackles as well. And then so they were we can say the servants of Sikandar Lodhi, they brought Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they put him on a boat, and then they rowed the boat right to the middle of the Ganges River. And they put a really heavy weight, so we can say like a बहुत काफ़ी बड़ा पत्थर, tied it to the hands of Bhagat Kabeer Ji so that it would just bring him down, it would load him down into the nadi, है ना, so he would not be able to swim. So when they reached the middle of the river, they pushed Bhagat Kabeer Ji into the nadi, and Bhagat Kabeer Ji, while they were falling into the river, they looked up in the sky and they just remembered Ram at that moment. They kept doing Simran of Ram. So this whole incident, Bhagat Kabeer Ji actually speaks about it in their Bani, which is in Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. So I'm just going to read it out, and also we'll go through the Sakhi at the same time. So Bhagat Kabeer Ji ਕਹਿੰਦੇ Ganga Gusain Gehar Gambir Janjeer Band Kar Khare Kabir. So Ganga Gusain, so they're saying that the Ganges river is so deep, and Janjeer Band Kar, so they have tied my hands with shackles, and Khare Kabir, they took me to that nadi. Man na dige tan kahe ko daraye charan kamal chit rahyo samay. So now Bhagat Kabeer Ji is telling that my mind is not wavering, my mind is strong. So why will my body waver? Why will my body be afraid of what's going to happen? Charan kamal chit rahyo samay. I have attuned myself at the feet of Paramatma by doing Simran of Ram. Then Bhagat Kabeer Ji say, I'm pretty sure we have heard this pankti so many times. Ganga ki lahar, meri tutti janjeer, mrigshala par baithe Kabir. So at that instant, when Bhagat Kabeer Ji were thrown into the Ganges river, what happened? Bhagat Kabeer Ji is saying that Ganga ki lahar, meri tutti janjeer. So my shackles were broken, both in my arms and my feet, they were broken. And at that moment, Bhagat Kabeer Ji, everybody's looking at what's happening. All the Qazi, the Pandits, those who had Shraddha Pavana in Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they're looking that Bhagat Kabeer Ji, once drowned in an instant, they came back up to the surface of the Ganges river, and it looks like they are sitting down and doing bhakti on a solid surface, but they were sitting on the river. They were sitting in the Ganges river, Hana, and they were not moving. They were like a solid, and they were so attuned in Simran of Ram. So Mrigshala par baithe Kabir. And so it looks like Bhagat Kabeer Ji were seated on a deer skin on the Ganges river. Keh Kabir ko sangna saath jal thal rakhan hai Raghunath. So now Kabir Ji is saying this is the reality of life. There's no one who I can call my friend or my companion who will come and save me at the most difficult time. And Bhagat Kabeer Ji is saying that the only person, the only one who protects me is Paramatma, is Ram. So that was the first test that Bhagat Kabeer Ji went to, the first time, or we can say the first attempt of murder on Bhagat Kabeer Ji. But इस समय भी Bhagat Kabeer Ji लाज रखियां परमात्मा ने कीती है, and everybody was shocked. The Qazi, the Pandits who were looking, they were shocked, they couldn't believe their eyes. And so they ran to Sikandar Lodhi back in his darbar and said that, they didn't say exactly what happened, but they said that, Kabir Ji, he broke off the shackles and he swam to the surface and he saved himself. So this attempt failed. We need to try another way. And Sikandar Lodhi was thinking that, this person who, even with so many shackles and a heavy weight could still come up and save himself, he might even try to take over the throne. And so he's a really dangerous person. So Sikandar Lodhi फिर सोचता सीगा की करे, and he said that throw Bhagat Kabeer Ji into the fire and do it in such a way that he cannot escape. So this was the second attempt, and so in an open space in Kasi, they grabbed Bhagat Kabeer Ji, tied him to a pole, and all four corners they light up fire that was leading up to that central pole where Bhagat Kabeer Ji was sitting. And so then the guards, they guarded the whole area, so it was really no way a person could escape that area. And everybody was surrounding the fire and they could see what was happening. So again, this Qazi, the Pandits, they were looking, and Bhagat Kabeer Ji was in the middle of that fire. And now what happened was that for almost 3 hours the fire was burning, and the guards that were there, the Qazi, the Pandits that were there, they thought that basa hona gal mukki. Now this is the end of Bhagat Kabeer Ji. We didn't see anyone leaving the fire, and the fire has been going on, blazing hot fire has been going on for 3 hours. He's dead. So what happened was that the fire that slowly died down, it cooled down, and to their surprise, they saw Bhagat Kabeer Ji sitting, at that pole, leaning against that pole, unharmed, without a scratch on their body. without, their kapde was still attached to their body, they were still wearing the kapde, their shoes were still on, and they were sitting down, still doing bhakti of Ram. This was like how Paramatma saved the honor of Draupadi. This was how, the same way Paramatma saved the honor of Bhagat Dhruv and Bhagat Prahlad Ji. It was the same way Paramatma Ram saved Bhagat Kabeer Ji. And so looking at this, now sare de vich inna ka bharosa aa gaya that Bhagat Kabeer Ji is not, this is not their own doing, but something greater is helping Bhagat Kabeer Ji. Paramatma themselves are protecting Bhagat Kabeer Ji, so there's no way we can harm him. And so now Sikandar Lodhi got the news, and now he's thinking. So he calls Kabeer Ji to his darbar, and he says, why are you letting this happen to yourself? Why don't you just accept a dharam? Why do you want me to keep torturing you? And this is where Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they recited this pankti. They say, Kabir, kukar Ram ko mutya mero nao, gale hamare jewari, jeh khinche tehe jao. So now they're saying Kabir is telling that I am the dog of Paramatma and my name is Mutya, and gale hamari jewari, and there's a chain around my neck. So jeh kinche tehe jao, and wherever I'm being pulled by Vaheguru, by Ram, by Paramatma, I go without any question. Without any doubt, I have full faith that wherever my Paramatma brings me, he will protect me. So there is no question, there is no answer to you that I can give you to why I'm not following a certain religion. All I'm doing is what my Ram wants me to do, which is his bhakti. So really, I have no answer for you. And then after that, Sikandar Lodhi, he thought that this person, this Bhagat, is not going to listen. And he says that now, the third attempt to murder Bhagat Kabeer Ji was to crush him by under the feet of an elephant. So Kabeer Ji were to be thrown in front of a drunk elephant, an angry elephant, and the elephant would crush Bhagat Kabeer Ji. So now this also is mentioned in Gurbani as well, that whole Sakhi, Kabeer Ji tells that how the attempt to kill me took place, where they threw me in front of that elephant. And Bhagat Kabeer Ji is saying, they say, Puja band pila kar daryo, hasti krop moond meh maryo. They tied my arms, they tied my whole body so I couldn't run away, and they threw me before an elephant. And after that, there was a person, we can say, who was sitting on the elephant and keeps hitting the elephant to, make him angry, and so he would listen to his instruction. So in this whole Shabad, Bhagat Kabeer Ji is telling the whole Sakhi what was happening, but then when the elephant looked into the eyes of Bhagat Kabeer Ji, when the eyes of Bhagat Kabeer Ji and the eyes of the elephants, they met, and that instant, in that moment, the elephant understood, the elephant realized that this is not a normal person that I'm going to crush. This is a Bhagat of Bhagwan, this is a Bhagat of Paramatma. How can I, a mere animal, another creation of Paramatma, crush a Bhagat? Crush their own Bhagat. This would create more karam for me. I cannot do this. And at that instant, the elephant turned back and refused to crush Bhagat Kabeer Ji, refused to even go near them or even try to hurt them. And the person, the Qazi, the Pandits who were there, they kept shouting to the person sitting on top of the elephant, saying that you better get him to move, if not, we're going to torture you. But the elephant did not move at all. And so then after that, the person sitting on the elephant, he too realized that this is not a normal person, it's a Bhagat they were speaking about. And he said a question, he said, why do you want to kill this person? What has he done to you? Why are you going, for his life and trying to kill him? Even the animal is refusing to kill this Bhagat. Are you out of your mind? And so then the Qazi and the Pandits, they looked, they saw the animal, they saw the elephant refusing to take the action to kill Bhagat Kabeer Ji, and they too calmed down. And then so Bhagat Kabeer Ji is saying, Teen bar patya bar lina, man kathor ajhu na patina. 3 times he tried to kill me. And then all 3 times he failed. Keh Kabir Hamra Gobind Chauthe Pad mein Jan ki Jind. Keh Kabir, this is, such is my master, such is my Paramatma, that he protects the honor of the Bhagats, he protects the honor of the Bhagat, and he makes the Bhagat reach the chota avastha, that state of bliss, that state of ananda, in any situation that a Bhagat might be. Even it will be a situation of terror, a situation of fear. And so, looking at this whole situation, 3 times Sikandar Lodhi tried to kill Bhagat Kabeer Ji in various ways. And when this news went into the ear of Sikandar Lodhi, he realized at that moment that I'm wasting my energy. I know that I'm going against a higher power here, which is Paramatma, which is Bhagwan, which is Allah themselves. And so they called Bhagat Kabeer Ji to the Darbar, and this time Sikandar Lodhi falls to the feet of Bhagat Kabeer Ji and asks for forgiveness, asks for maafi, that he tried to murder a Bhagat, and how sinful, how much he has done so much bad stuff towards Bhagat Kabeer Ji, and he is regretting his actions. So at that instant, then looking at the amount of pavna Sikandar Lodhi had towards Bhagat Kabeer Ji, the Qazi and the Pandits looking, oh haje vi ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਮੱਤ ਮਾਰੀ ਹੋਈ ਸੀਗੀ, they did not even change their method, they did not even change their mindset. And Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they could feel the hatred, they could feel the jealousy in this Qazi and this Pandits, and they spoke to Sikandar Lodhi and said that, Thanu, you are forgiven, you didn't do anything, this was a test from Paramatma, and it just made me believe that my Paramatma, my Ram, will protect me in any way. And so then Bhagat Kabeer Ji, this is now coming towards the end of their life. Bhagat Kabeer Ji thought that Hon Kashi cha reh ke koi faida nahi. There's no point now living in Kashi, because every day something new is gonna come up. Every day a new, jab, a new problem is gonna come up from this Qazi, from these Pandits. Na main apni bhakti samar ke kar sakda, te main apna time barbad kari jaunga, enna de na ulj ke. So Bhagat Kabeer Ji is thinking that I wouldn't be able to do bhakti properly, I'll be wasting my time, going around in this problem, and so Bhagat Kabeer Ji thought that they are not going to stay in Kashi any longer, and so they decided to move to a place called Magar. Magar is a place where thore log rehde hai, and it's really peaceful, and a lot of people, they are scared to stay in Magar because they heard this superstition going on, and Bhagat Kabeer Ji, a Bhagat of Paramatma, does not believe in superstitions. So they then recited in Magar with their whole family and decided doing bhakti there. Slowly, jere Bhagat Kabeer Ji de Bhagat sige, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਚੇਲੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਆਉਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਏ ਮਗਰ ਦੇ ਸ਼ਹਿਰ ਵਿੱਚ, and they too started staying there and doing bhakti as well. Now, the day came where Bhagat Kabeer Ji is going to leave this world. So imagine now, in this whole period from the beginning of their life, where they were known, they were revealed to be a Bhagat, and they go through so much hatred from the society, from those people who are trying to earn money in the name of Dharam, and they go through so many tests, so many physical pain, until the end of their life. So all these Pandits, all these Brahmins, all these, the scholars of the Hindus and the Muslim religion, they slowly realized, especially when people started moving out of Kanshi and going to Bhagat Kabeer Ji, that Kabeer Ji is indeed a Bhagat, indeed a saint of Paramatma, and we have done something, wrong to go against Kabeer Ji. And so now towards the end, what was happening is that these Hindus and these Muslim scholars, they are now claiming Bhagat Kabeer Ji to be theirs. So Sangat Ji, even for Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the same thing happened as well, where towards the end, the jasa, the praise of Guru Nanak Dev Ji prevailed in the whole world, and now towards the end of their life, the Hindus and the Muslims, they are claiming Guru Nanak Dev Ji to be their own. And so the same happened for Bhagat Kabeer Ji as well. So they were lying down, about to leave their body, and they hear this dispute amongst the Hindus and the Muslim brothers who were there. And to solve this dispute, Bhagat Kabeer Ji said that each one of you bring a coffin for me. So bring a white cloth. So the Hindu brothers, they brought a cloth, and the Muslim brothers, they brought a cloth as well. And Bhagat Kabeer Ji placed both of the kapde on their body, and they left their sarir. And when these Muslims and these Hindu, these scholars, the people, the brothers, they all came, to collect the ashes, to collect the body, to basically do the ritual based on their religion. When they looked underneath the kapra, they couldn't find Bhagat Kabeer Ji's body, and they each one took the kapra that they put on top of Bhagat Kabeer Ji's body. So the Hindus have one white cloth and the Muslims have one. What they did with these kapra is unknown, but up till today, we know that there are people from both faiths as well and other faiths as well that have started following the teachings of Bhagat Kabeer Ji and become a part of Kabir Panthi. And Bhagat Kabeer Ji, they're saying that towards the end of their life, these panktiyan was really beautiful, recited by Bhagat Kabeer Ji. They say, Kabir man nirmal paya jaisa ganga neer. So now they're saying that towards the end of their life, they say, Kabir man nirmal paya, that my mind has become so nirmal. Jaisa Ganga neer, just like the Ganga Nadi is so pure, where people go into that Ganga, that Ganges river, to remove their filth, to become pure. My mind has become pure. Pache lago har fire kahat Kabir Kabir. Now what was the situation happening? Was that Pache lago har fire. Now instead of me going behind Paramatma, now Paramatma har Ram is coming after me, is coming behind me, Kahat Kabir Kabir, and calling out for my name, O Kabir, trying to get my attention. So now Bhagat Kabeer Ji is trying to show that loving relationship between Paramatma and a Bhagat, where first a Bhagat is going around Paramatma, trying to get their attention, trying to get their love, and now that Paramatma is tied with the love of a Bhagat, now they are going behind a Bhagat and calling out for their name to get the Bhagat's attention. And Bhagat Kabeer Ji is saying, Panch Nard ke mitve foote, Panch Nard ke mitve foote, Kah Kabir Gur Kirpa chute. So now towards the end of their life, they say that Panch Nard ke mitve tute. So they're saying that this body that's made up of this Panch Gyan Indriya, these 5 elements, mitve, this clay, this body of clay, foote means it has broken. So all that ignorance, this maya, this attachment, everything is broken, everything is gone. Kaho Kabir, Gur Kirpa Shute. So Kabir Ji is saying, Guru the Kirpa, then now with the Kirpa of Sadguru, with the Kirpa of a true Guru, one is freed from this attachment, from this world, from this maya. So that was what the situation of Bhagat Kabeer Ji was. And if we look at the Bani of Bhagat Kabeer Ji, there's so many formats, there's so many things that tell us about different concepts. All we need to do is perhaps explore their Bani, especially the sloks of Bhagat Kabeer Ji. They come in 2 liners. It's quite easy to understand the Bani of Bhagat Kabeer Ji as well, because Siddhi Boliya. Sometimes we don't have to crack our head too much to understand what they're trying to say. It's quite straightforward as well, and they can be quite blunt about what they're trying to say. So that's really interesting about Bhagat Kabeer Ji. So there are many more Sakya about Bhagat Kabeer Ji. In fact, we just went through briefly and in a glance about the whole general Sakya of Bhagat Kabeer Ji's life. But to go in depth, it will be good to do more research, especially the Sakhi behind the Shabads they have written in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. So most of the time in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the Shabads that we read, there's always a story behind it. We call it a Thanika. And it's really interesting because then these Sakya, they relate to our own life experiences as well. So that's how we can then get an understanding of what the Shabad really means. So I hope that we got inspiration from the life of Bhagat Kabeer Ji. How, today, reading that so many times they were threatened by both religion, they were tried to be killed by both religions, but it really shows that, when we have the hands of Paramatma on our head, fir koi nahi sada kuch kar sakda. No one can, do anything to us as long as Paramatma is there to protect us. But we need to have full faith. We need to have 100% nischa, faith that my Paramatma, Vaheguru, will protect me. Not even an ounce, not even 1% of doubt should be placed in that faith. So I hope that Bhagat Kabeer Ji's stories, their life has been really inspiring for all of us. Hopefully Maharaj Kripakan will explore the life of another Bhagat and the days to come. So please forgive me for any mistakes I've made. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.